Hello, nice of you to join us on this edition of Newsroom series. I'm Dominic Iwiwu. Today we'll be focusing on the North Central region. But before we get into that, let's have a look at the top stories making the rounds at the moment. The abducted wife of a former Assistant Inspector General of Police, Hakeem Odumosu, has regained freedom after operatives of the force led by the Commissioner of Police in Ogun State, Lanre Ogunlowo, neutralized the kidnappers. A statement from the Force Public Relations Officer ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi says the operatives equally recovered the ransom paid to kidnappers as a bait after the victim was rescued unhurt. The statement reiterates the commitment of the police to safeguard Nigerians and the nation. The retired AIG's wife, Folashade Odumosu, was abducted last Thursday at the entrance of her residence in Arepo area of Ogun State. The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons says its operatives have rescued 9 pregnant women from a baby factory in Abuja. A statement by Mr. Vincent Adekoye, press officer NAPTIP, reveals that the baby factory is situated at one of the sprawling estates in the Ushafa area in the Federal Capital Territory. He also disclosed that the raid on the facility followed a tip-off from a concerned citizen. A part of the statement reads, "The victim were locked up in an apartment inside the estate by a yet-to-be-identified suspect trafficking agent after they were recruited through an online platform." Adekoye also said that the agency's Director General, Haji Babinta Adamu Bello, has lauded the judiciary for the landmark judgment of convicted and sentencing one Bishop Kenneth Duke, who was said to have raped a 12-year-old girl, daughter of one of his church members in Abuja. The DG said the judgment would serve as a deterrent to others while warning the agency would not spare anyone who violates its laws. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has destroyed fake, expired and substandard goods worth 1.3 billion naira in Abuja. The Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Moji Adeyeye, represented by Mr. Festus Ukadike, who led officials of the agency to the Kuje dump site in Abuja, said the items destroyed include drugs, hospital equipment, cosmetics, food items and several other products. The agency also destroyed expired food items voluntarily handed over by some local and international organizations, including the World Food Programme. More than 12 lives were reportedly lost in a multiple auto accidents involving a trailer and another vehicle along the popular accident-prone Oko-Olowo axis of the Ilorin-Jeba Expressway, Kwara State. It was gathered that several other persons sustained various degrees of injuries in the auto crash. According to accounts by eyewitnesses, the accident occurred on Wednesday when a trailer collided head-on with a vehicle. It was gathered that one of the 2 vehicles involved in the accident was transporting cows and human passengers from Ilorin, Kwara State capital to Ogbomosho, Oyo State, while the trailer was said to be traveling from Lagos to Kano. Emergency responders and police officers from the G Division Police Command, Oloje, were said to have arrived at the scene on time to take control of the situation, while the injured victims were rushed to a nearby hospital for treatment. The cause of the accident is still under investigation. However, it was gathered that reckless driving and excessive speeding contributed. The Offa Descendants Union of North America has provided free medical interventions and surgeries to over 3,000 people in Offa Community, Kwara State, as part of the activities marking its 10th year anniversary of medical mission. The body also held a symposium where experts called for more collaborations among the indigent for greater development of the community.
Offa community and its people are known for their self-help mindsets as sons and daughters from home and abroad pool resources to develop their community.
10th year anniversary.
Some of the development initiatives are in the area of healthcare provided by the Offa Development Union of North America. The organization has been providing free medical services to members of Offa community for 10 years And this year's event is even bigger and better.
We cannot leave everything for the government to do, and that is how we started Uduna Medical Mission. We screen for chronic diseases, hypertension, diabetes, chronic pains, and stuff like that. And also, initially that's what we started with, and then we have expanded over time. We screen people for everything now.
Close to 3,000 people benefited from the free medical services and surgeries, which lasted 5 days.
Pray for them, may God continue blessing them, lift them up, and have mercy upon them, because there are many things that we cannot avoid to do, and they help us. Free medication, free treatment, we really appreciate and we thank God for that.
This year's event closed with a symposium which centered on the theme Reflecting, Renewing and Rebuilding, delivered by distinguished speakers such as the former acting managing director of Bank of Industry, Dr. Waheed Olagunju, who speaks on the role of community-based organizations in national development.
We need to ensure that we are systematic and methodical in our approach to development of our community. We need to be ESG compliant. ESG means environment, social, and governance. Talking about environment, whatever initiative we embark upon, let it not be that it will be detrimental to the environment, so that we make the planet unlivable for our children and great-grandchildren. Social refers to the impact, positive impact that such interventions will make on our people. And then governance means we must go do things in line with global best practices. We must be transparent in whatever we do.
On his part, a legal practitioner, Wahab Shitu, based his presentation on the need for pride, patriotism and philanthropism, Offa, model of community development. He reiterated the need to give back to the society and complement the efforts of governments at all levels.
Whatever financial resources you have, they are only useful to the extent that you give back to your community, which is what ODU, North America, Uduna, has demonstrated in 10 years.
President of the Union gives assurances that his members are determined to continue to contribute to the growth of the community.
Your presence today signifies your belief in the power of collective action and your dedication to uplifting the well-being of our beloved community of Offa. Preventive screening to life-saving treatment, we have touched lives, restored hope, strengthened the fabric of our community. This anniversary is not only a celebration of what we have achieved, but also an opportunity to reflect on the journey that has brought us here.
Organizers hope that the takeaway from the 5-day medical mission and message from the symposium is for wealthy individuals to collaborate and complement the efforts of the government in the provision of social amenities that will make life meaningful for the less privileged in their society.
Revitalization of agricultural productivity in Plateau State has received a boost with the distribution of tractors and disbursement of funds to farmers, communities and institutions in ensuring food security, tackling poverty and enhancing economic and community growth. The intervention, which is an initiative by the World Bank through Plateau State Agroclimatic Resilience and Semi-Arid Landscapes Project, is aimed at financially empowering communities, combat desertification, restoration of degraded lands, and special ecosystem for agriculture and biodiversity conservation.
His Excellency.
Plateau State Agroclimatic Resilience in Semi-Arid Landscapes Project seeks to enhance agricultural productivity to empower local communities by providing them with financial resources to implement innovative and adaptive strategies in the agricultural value chain. Agrisol, a World Bank-funded project, is supporting farmers in the north-central state with the distribution of tractors and disbursement of funds to communities and institutions to ensure food security, poverty reduction, and economic growth.
It's a celebration of the Agrisol Day, and so many things.
Governor Caleb Mutfwang graces the event alongside his deputy, members of the State Executive Council, the World Bank team, officials of Agrisol, as well as farmers and stakeholders in the agricultural sector.
The Community Revolving Fund, CRF, is a pivotal element under the Agrisol project aimed at enhancing agricultural resilience and promoting sustainable practices among targeted groups in identified communities. The fund is further designed to empower local communities by providing them with the financial resources necessary to implement innovative and adaptive strategies, which are crucial for improving agricultural productivity, which are crucial to ensuring food security and ultimately enhancing their lives and community growth.
World Bank Country Director for Nigeria, Ndiame Diop, congratulated the beneficiary communities and underscored the importance of addressing climate change adverse effects on agriculture and food security.
Agriculture productivity is under pressure of declining because of the variety of rainfalls. Food security is threatened, and poverty, efforts at reducing poverty are being threatened by climate change. To this end, the Plateau State is partnering with the World Bank, with the federal government, to help vulnerable communities adapt to climate impact while improving the livelihood of the vulnerable people in the communities.
Governor Mutfwang charges the beneficiaries to manage the grant, which is part of a pilot scheme to be replicated on the success of the pioneer beneficiaries.
You must police the utilization of these funds effectively. You are the first fruits, you are the firstborn of this scheme. If you succeed, it means that the story of poverty on the plateau will be turned around. I don't know how these communities were selected. We haven't interfered. We have allowed the project coordinator and his team to select these communities based on the established criteria. But I want you to know that we will be monitoring your progress, bumper to bumper. So I want you to team up together and determine to make a success of this.
10 beneficiary communities are presented with $25,000 each through the Community Revolving Fund scheme. Governor Mutfwang presents the checks to representatives of the communities.
We are being conscious of the purpose why this money is issued to us. And we are so committed to that purpose. What we intend to do is, for now, we are kickstarting with the dry season farmers. Those that will be able to farm tomatoes, pepper, okra, etc., etc. And we are going to see to the prudent management of this fund that is released to us and given to us by Agrisol through His Excellency, the Governor of Plateau State.
We are going to be using it in our community to farm. We are a group of farmers that farm all through the year, both rainy season and dry season. It's going to be put into judicious use because we have been an existing group. It's not that it's this money that is bringing us together. We have been existing for many years together as a community, farming and doing so much together. So this is to enhance our activity and to help us do more.
In the name of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
The governor thereafter proceeds to commission 20 tractors for distribution to the designated communities and some institutions in Plateau State.
Nasarawa State stakeholders in the agriculture sector are working to ensure the development of the state's agricultural policy and agricultural investment plan. To this end, they held an inception meeting today in Alafia, the state capital, to discuss the state's capability for inclusive agricultural transformation projects, which is facilitated by Agra Nigeria in collaboration with the State Ministry of Agriculture, Water Resources, and the State Investment and Development Agency. The aim is to enable increased private sector participation for inclusive agriculture in the state.
Thank you. We're very grateful to Agric for coming to help deepen all of the reforms that government has embarked upon over the past 6 years since the coming of His Excellency Engineer Isude as the governor of Nasarawa. I know that this partnership will ensure that we'll support the state to develop an agricultural policy, an agricultural investment policy. Beyond that, this partnership will also help build the capacity of the Ministry of Agriculture to continue to drive transformative work in the sector.
Governor Hyacinth Alia of Benue State has tasked the 53-member screening committee for the state symbols like flags, anthems and coat of arms to carefully select entries submitted by Benue indigents and come up with something that reflects the agricultural strength of Benue to the world. Represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Mrs. Deborah Abe, while swearing in the Justice Augustine Utasha Committee, says Benue should be known beyond its ethnic diversity and showcase its ability to feed Africa and the world. Chairman of the committee, retired Justice Augustina Utashi, assures the governor of a diligent process with membership drawn from religious and traditional leaders, historians and civil society organizations, as well as youths with tech skills.
Members of Benue State Screening Committee of the state symbols like flag, anthem and coat of arms, led by Justice Augustine Usaha, retired, converged on the old banquet hall, Government House, for their inauguration.
The Executive Governor of Benue State, represented by the Secretary.
Moments later, Secretary to the State Government, Mrs. Deborah Abe, arrives for the ceremony to represent Governor Hyacinth Alia. She proceeds to inaugurate the committee, charging them to rebrand Benue State to something beyond her ethnic diversity, a people that will be on the world map as solution providers to the food crisis.
The government has embarked on very ambitious projects littered around the town and indeed the entire state. Many are at near completion. I would like at this juncture to appreciate all those who have taken part and submitted entries from which choices will be made. You have indeed taken steps towards creating a lasting legacy for us and generations unborn, and for this, the state appreciates you.
She then tasks the committee to give all entries a competitive opportunity to arrive at what's best for Benue State.
It is the beginning of a search, a quest for a common identity that will become our heritage. Every group, people, community, states, and even nations have unique features and cultures that stand them out from the rest, and Benue is no exception. We must therefore seek for symbols that make us unmistakable to the rest of the world, symbols that speak and reflect our culture, our uniqueness, our strengths, and our potentials. These symbols will become our source of strength, our sense of pride, and our binding cords in spite of our diversities.
Chairman of the committee pledges to deliver a diligent process given the experience of the members.
Having read this morning, I said our task is easy, which must never be presumptuous that it is easy, because it requires diligent screening, diligent reasoning, diligent selection. We need experts, we need God's guidance to help us arrive at what is generally accepted to the people of Benue in particular and Nigeria in general. I only wish to assure you, my Lord, Your Excellency, with the crop of intellectuals we have, traditional rulers, historians, artists, and so forth, we will never fail our DRC.
Although Benue is known as the food basket of the Federation, the Alia administration says it wants to create a solution-based identity for the state, and the food crisis presents a perfect opportunity to solve the food security challenge.
Now to education. A non-government organization in Niger State has emphasized the need for increased support to enable more girls gain access to education and acquire life skills. The HIB Foundation is seeking to bridge the educational gap in northern Nigeria. The foundation, run by the daughter of former head of state Ibrahim Babangida, is giving scholarships and livelihood support to 5,600 beneficiaries as part of her late mother's dream to promote girls' education. Meanwhile, the Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, Hadiza Mohammed, says the state government is appreciative of the support by individuals and groups to enhance the education sector. She announces that the government is also creating a soft landing for students and that basic school heads will no longer collect PTA levies from pupils, as the state government will cover these costs.
Targeting mostly girls, widows, children, and all the youth, to be honest, and the men as well. It keeps me up at night that children cannot go to school, and I decided to wake up and do something and start this initiative to help as much people as we can.
The issue of out-of-school children has to do with the financing of the education of our children, which has been the main constraint. And the pronouncement the governor has given about the waiving the PTE, there has been great challenges to our parents. Some because of 1,000, 2,000, you see children not going to school. Now that a waiver has been given, I think it will reduce the issue of out-of-school children in the system. And we hope that our school managers will also key in and stop collection of the PTE. And the issue of quality education you're talking about, we are now working with the teacher career path policy. Before you are employed as a teacher in the system, you must be a professional teacher. You must be qualified, having the prerequisite to make you a teacher in the system.
We go over to health matters now. The Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, has called on resident doctors in the Federal Capital Territory and across the country to reflect the consequences of embarking on a strike. Professor Pate made the call in an interview with journalists on the sideline of the ongoing World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. According to him, the current administration is not handling lightly the welfare of health workers in the country. The Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, has reiterated that the federal government has the interest of the people of Kuje in mind, which is why the latest road construction in the FCT is happening in the area. Mr. Wike was speaking during the flag-off of the asphalt carriageway from Garage Junction to Lia Secretariat within Kuje Area Council. He promised that this is just the beginning, as a lot more developments will come the way of residents in all area councils of the FCT.
You cannot see government that understands the plight of the people. Government that communicates with the people. So I can assure you that with your support, continuous support, you will get more things in Kuje. The whole essence of governance is to make people happy. And since you are happy, then we're happy. When you have a government that has the interest of the people, development will come. Ask us when we say, pay your grand rent, pay your money for C of O. Ask us, what are we doing with the money? We owe you a duty to let you know taxes paid must be used for the interest of the people. And we did promise you that we are going to do a lot from Kuje to Gwagwalada. And work has started. Let me tell you that Mr. President has approved again. We must have to continue Kuje to Peggy.
And that's all we have on this edition of Newsroom series. I'm Dominic Riwu.